of the Dead is directed by Zack Snyder. It is co-written by Zack Snyder, Shay Hampton, and Joby Harold. It stars Dave Bautista, Ellen Purnell, Omaria Hardwick, Anna de la Reguera, Theo Rossi, Matthias Schweighöfer, Nora Hernandez, Hiroku Sanda, Tig Notaro, Raul Costello, Huma Kirishia, and Garrett Delahunt. It is a spiritual sequel to Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, but more or less Zack Snyder, it started out originally as a sequel to Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. But what happened was, because after Dawn happened, studio wanted to make a sequel. Well, apparently what happened was they didn't have the rights to Day of the Dead, so Zack and them come up with an idea about a zombie heist movie in Vegas called Army of the Dead. Well, apparently what happened was the studio kind of lost interest after, and then of course it went to Warner Brothers, and then Warner Brothers lost interest, then finally Netflix, after Warner Brothers kind of cut their ties with Snyder, it went to Netflix. And while, and I'm glad that, Zack Snyder, he tried to make this. He's been trying to make since 2006. So I'm really excited for Zack Snyder to finally get to make this movie. And I was really looking forward to this movie. I was excited because I love Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. And I'm just a huge fan of Dawn of the Dead. The 2004 Dawn of the Dead movie is so great. I know I have the 1978 version behind me, but I just thought the background looked more cooler with that one. Because the other one just has Dawn and a couple of zombies, and it has a big logo overshadowing it. I just feel like this version of the picture, even though it's not Zack Snyder's version, I think that picture looks great. But yeah, I love Zack Snyder's work. I gave Justice League a fantastic review. I love Watchmen 300. I watched 300 the other day because I thought it was such a great film. 300 is such a great film. I even like the second one. I also love Watchmen, even The Legends of the Guardians. I thought that was a fantastic movie. I just did not, even Sucker Punch is fantastic. I just did not like this movie that much, though. To me, I sat there and thought about this movie for 3 days straight, thinking, I've been trying to do this review for a couple of days now. It came out a week or two ago. I've been sitting here trying to think about doing this review for a while because I was thinking, is it worth it to do this review? Because I don't want to feel like I'm hating on this movie because I love Zack Snyder. I feel like Zack Snyder is a fantastic filmmaker. But this movie, I kind of was scratching my head when it went off. I was just well, okay. I know people that saw it in the theaters, and said, well, it's not that good. And I thought, I asked a couple people, and most people I've known said, it's okay. That's how I felt. Well, it's okay. The first 20 minutes of the movie are fantastic. And the whole movie is basically a heist movie in Vegas. Dave Bautista leads a team in Vegas to steal money out of a vault before they nuke Vegas because it was full of zombies that have an outbreak that was caused by the military. And in hindsight, that's cool. Some people compare it to Escape from New York meets Dawn of the Dead in Vegas. That's perfect. Why does this movie feel kind of boring? The zombies aren't really zombies in this movie, and that's a big spoiler we're gonna get into. I like a couple of the cast members. I think Dave Bautista is a fantastic actor. I just feel like he wasn't as good in this movie. I wrote some notes down about this movie that I just want to talk about for a second. I wrote some notes right here I want to talk about, okay? Alright, I thought Dave Bautista was just there, it felt like he was supposed to be in the Suicide Squad, okay? And he was going to be in James Gunn's Suicide Squad, but he wanted to do this movie instead. And I'm just thinking, I would have done Suicide Squad. I'm just going to say it. I will say this. Dave Bautista just feels like he's there. He's just the traditional lead guy, but he's not really does nothing. I will say Nora Androzeder, character Lily, I think her character is the best character of the movie because she actually has an arc in this movie. Hell, I will feel like even Theo Russo's character, he plays an asshole, and he's actually has more of he's acting better in this movie than he was in, even Tig Notaro was even great in this movie. And Omar Hardwick, he's fantastic in this movie, but I'm just thinking even Garrett Delahunt is pretty great in this movie. And I'm just thinking, Why are they? Why? Like, why is Dave Bautista not trying? Just like, did he just not give a shit, or was he just like, or was that just the direction he was giving? Like, you don't care. I mean, because I just watched this movie and I love Dave Bautista. I love him. And like, I liked him in Guardians. I loved him even in the Scorpion King 2, which that's a terrible movie, or Scorpion King 3. Yes, it's a terrible movie, but he was good in it. I even liked him in the movie, the Escape Plan sequels with Stallone. I also liked him in the episode of Smallville he did. I'm just saying, he wasn't that good in this movie. Like, I was just thinking, like, he was just in the movie there. He was just there, like, phoning the performance in. And I'm just sitting there watching going, he's much more better in Groot in this movie. And I was watching it just going, okay. Like, the Zombie King and Zombie Queen aspect, I love that aspect. But then it goes nowhere after a while, because it just seems like, okay, they're just there. They're like, it's just like someone comes up and goes, booga, booga, booga. And then they go away, and then they're like, oh, I'm dead. And then it's like, really? Like, the Zombie King isn't even really menacing that much. Like, he's at the beginning he is, and then he's just there. He's just there. And then at the end, something happens, and you're just like, really? Really? And like, the whole point of the movie is they're going there to get money, okay? And then you find out that's not actually the reason. And then you find out another thing happens. And I'm just going to spoil some spoilers because really, I mean, it's on Netflix if you can watch it. They're basically going there to, like, the Garrett Dillahunt's character is going there basically to get money. They're going there to get money. He's not going there for the money. He's going there to get a zombie head so that way he can do research or studies and stuff on it or something, whatever they want to do. And so he is going there for that. And he, of course, he kills the Zombie Queen he traps her and cuts her head off. And the Zombie King apparently impregnated her and has a baby, a fetus that he rips out of his stomach. And, you know, there was a scene I heard the original script that was much more effed up. Like, they had there's a zombie birth scene. They had a scene that I can't really say on this channel, but I'm just saying it's something that you would not do in the Me Too era in a movie, because it's really messed up now. And like, I don't support that, but I'm just saying, like, you could not do that in the movie right now. I'm just saying. If you've seen Watchmen, with the scene with the comedian and Silk Spectre on the pool table, it's basically that scene, something like that, but with a zombie and a woman. And I was just thinking, and part of that scene I feel like is in the movie, but they cut away from it before it happens. So I was just thinking, I bet that was the scene. But then Zack Snyder was like, yeah, we can't do that now, so we're going to just cut away from that. Which I'm sure that they didn't film that scene. I'm sure they just cut away from it afterwards. They cut, because you could, Netflix would probably say, Zack, yeah, cut that scene, because that's not good. Like, we can get in trouble for that, you know, or people get backlash. And so I was like, I heard about that. Like, the director of, you can go look it up, the director of the film, before Zack Snyder was going to direct it, back in like 2009 or so, he was doing like Watchmen or 300 or Sucker Punch. And they brought in Matthew Von Hinkle, who directed the Thing 2011 movie, prequel. And he was going to direct Army of the Dead. And he said there's a bunch of stuff that happens in this movie about the zombie heist thing. And he did say something happens in the movie, that's that scene I'm talking about. And I was thinking, well, that's messed up, man. How would that even work, okay? And he said it was going to top the zombie birth scene in Dawn. But now, I could see the Zack Snyder cutting that scene for a reason. Because, like, that doesn't work now. You know? And I'm fine with it. I'm fine. You know? I mean, if it would have been the movie, I would have been like, oh, okay, oh, God, he's going to get some backlash for that. But, yeah, it didn't happen, you know? Or it did happen off screen, you know? Because there is a scene that I'm like, you could read between the lines and say that did happen. Because I'm just like, did grab that woman. Just saying. But yeah, I watched this movie then, and I was just like, there's characters in this movie that you're like, they're kind of building a romance towards, and you're like, oh yes, and then all of a sudden you're like, this character dies, and you're just like, really? I'm like, what's the point? It's like, and I understand Zack Snyder's used to doing movies, so he'll go and set a character up and then kill him off as a big shock and awe, and I'm like, that's fine and everything, but come on, really, Zack? Like, you know, like, you're building a franchise here, but I understand, this is basically like everyone's expandable movie, where everyone dies, and then the last person alive gets to keep the money and stuff like that. And I feel like we've seen this movie 1,000 times, where it's like they send a group of people in there, and they all die at the end, and then only one person or two people make it out, and it's mostly the protagonist's daughter, or someone like that, and I'm like, we've seen this before in movies. And I'm just thinking, couldn't they have done this? If this was, I'm sure this was a movie that was written in like 2006. So I mean, it's fine. Like this movie was written 2006, and it was meant for that time period, and I'm fine with that. I just did not care that much, you know? Like, most of the characters in this movie, I just don't care for. I mean, there's a few characters I cared for, and they'll die at the end. I'm just thinking, well then, okay. And they're supposed to make, like, even the Codebreaker is a funny character, and I was loving his character, and then he just disappears in the freaking movie, which it's implied he died, but I'm just thinking, like, we never find out, did he die or didn't he die, which is implied he died, but, I mean, at least from what I understand, he could be still alive, but I mean, you know, I'm just thinking, we never see him after a certain scene. I was like, what? Where's he at? I mean, I understand, but it's more, I mean, but still, I was just like kind of bummed. I'm like, and also, I mean, there's a lot of funny scenes. There's even a scene in the movie that I'm like, I am shocked Zack Snyder put in the movie. There is a scene in the movie that I'm just like, oh my god. It's like a kind of like a callback to Dawn of the Dead birth scene. And it's gross. Like, I mean, it's more classier than the birth scene, but I'm just thinking, oh, that scene's gross. It's like, it has to do with a fetus. And I'm just thinking, this is gross. And I'm just thinking, I did not need this. I did not need this. And also, there's a lot of plot theories and stuff in this movie. Apparently, there's a time loop theory, a robot zombie theory, alien theory. And I don't know, this movie's kind of confusing in some parts because there's a scene where it kind of says, oh, well, they're in a time loop, and it implies they are, and even shows like evidence to support they are, and then it just shoves that aside saying, it's all horseshit. You're like, then what the hell is the point of this scene? I'm like, is it Zack Snyder just effing with us at this point? Because, I mean, seriously, what is the point, alright, of that showing that if you're just gonna abandon it like 10 seconds later? Also, there's also implied that that zombies are aliens, or like they're robots sitting down from aliens. I would love for them to explain that, but I mean, they never explain that in the movie. They never ever explain that in the movie, and I'm just like, and maybe they'll do it. I know they're making like a prequel. They already shot the prequel. It's gonna come out soon. I'm sure they'll make a sequel to this because it's really, I heard it's made a bunch of money on Netflix, and it's really successful. And so, I mean, people seem to like it. I mean, I liked moments of it, but, like, I went back the second time watching. It was really hard. I made it halfway through it, and I just gave up, because I'm just like, I don't care. I mean, like, I know what's going to happen at the end, and it just wasn't, really, it felt like playing a game, but then there's no payoff at the end. You know, and I like Zack Snyder. I mean, this is just this probably might be my least favorite movie of his, but at the same time, he's not a terrible director. I'm just saying, he's just like, I understand, he's probably had all these ideas, and he's trying to set up maybe for a franchise, and I'm sure once we probably get Army, and maybe a third we get prequel Army of the Dead, and the next Army of the Dead movie after that, I'm sure we'll get probably a conclusion that'll make more sense, because I understand this is probably the second movie, and was planned to be like a 3-film arc, I believe. I know it's supposed to be an animated television series, so maybe they'll explain that in that or something, but I'm looking forward to seeing Army. All in all, I will say that this movie, if I had to give it a grade, I would say C+, maybe. I mean, it's a okay time. If you're just looking for something to do on the weekend to watch a movie or something, watch it. If you have something better to do, I'd choose that. But if you're just bored and you want something to do for 2 hours, watch it. Yep, C+. But thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to have a review for Cruella soon, and I'll have a review for Quiet Place Part 2. The Conjuring 3 is coming out soon. I'm going to try to do a watch-a-thon. I tried to do a watch-a-thon with Saul, and I did watch them all, but I just didn't review them because of time. And by the time I was like, oh, I had this, all life got in the way, and so I couldn't do all. But I promise around Halloween time I'll try to do like a review of all the Saw movies in order. And I'm got the review already shot for Spiral, so that will be soon. Also, Cruella's coming soon, and I'm going to try to have a review out for A Quiet Place. I might try to do a Conjuring 1 and 2 review, just to do that. And I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and I promise the Mask thesis is coming. Yes, it's shot, it's done. I've just got some other reviews I got to put ahead of that. But yeah, everything's coming. Thank you all so much for watching. If you can, just give this video a thumbs up. That's all I ask. and fall down the rabbit hole for more. Goodbye. Thank you.